Why muscles disappear while you sleep. Every night, while your body slips into rest, something unexpected may be unfolding, quietly, invisibly, and often without a single warning sign. If you're over 60, a small, often ignored habit could be silently draining your strength. Your muscles, the very force that keeps you steady, helps you rise from a chair, and preserves your independence, might be shrinking as you sleep. And no, it's not just because of aging. After 60, the body naturally loses up to 8% of muscle mass every decade. But here's the surprise. The most damaging loss doesn't happen during workouts or from a lack of exercise. It happens while you're sleeping. Each night, your body enters a fasting state. With no nutrients coming in, it begins drawing fuel from itself, specifically from your hard-earned muscle tissue. It's like burning your furniture to stay warm. Waking up stiff, sore, or weaker than yesterday. That's not just age. It could be your body running on empty through the night. Have you ever blamed morning aches on just getting older? What if the real reason was something quietly unfolding while you sleep? But here's the good news. This process is not permanent. In fact, it can be slowed and even reversed. And the fix? It's simple. Just one smart change to your evening routine can make all the difference. In today's episode, we're revealing 8 science-backed foods that rebuild and protect your muscles while you sleep. No supplements, no expensive tricks, just real foods, ranked from number 8 to number 1. Don't miss the food at number 3. Research shows it boosted muscle recovery by over 20%, with zero exercise required. Stay with us. Your future strength may depend on it. Let's start with a food you've probably seen 100 times, but never realized how powerful it really is. And if this message resonates with you, or someone you love, please like, comment, and subscribe to Senior Health Tips. Your support truly helps us continue sharing vital health tips, just like this. Number 8. Cottage cheese. The silent guardian. Think of this as your overnight security system for your muscles. Cottage cheese is rich in casein protein, a slow-digesting fuel that delivers a steady stream of amino acids while you sleep. Your muscles don't need a flood of protein all at once. They need a trickle, like a leaky faucet keeping things alive. Most proteins digest too quickly to help you through the night. But casein works like a time-release formula, feeding your muscles over 6 to 8 hours. That's exactly what aging muscles need. Constant nourishment, not sudden bursts. For seniors, that's a game changer. Why? Because after 60, your body becomes more resistant to absorbing protein efficiently. This is called anabolic resistance. Casein helps break that wall down, delivering what your muscles need when they need it. Here's something to consider. Sleep is when your body files its repair orders. Think of it like a construction site that only opens after midnight. But without building material, like amino acids, nothing gets repaired. And if nothing's fixed, you wake up weaker than the night before. Cottage cheese doesn't just feed your muscles. It supports your brain, too. It contains tryptophan, a natural amino acid that promotes deep, restful sleep. That means it's not just helping your body. It's helping your mind wind down and recover. And here's a pro move. Add a few slices of potassium-rich banana or a sprinkle of chia seeds. You're not just boosting flavor. You're adding fiber, magnesium, and recovery-enhancing compounds. These small additions help relax the body and prime it for better overnight restoration. Want an insider tip? Sprinkle some cinnamon on top. Not only does it add flavor without sugar, but it helps regulate blood sugar throughout the night. That's important because spikes or crashes while you sleep can disrupt the entire recovery process. Let's not forget one overlooked fact. Digestion slows as we age. So giving your body something slow-burning like casein is like handing it the perfect overnight assignment. It knows exactly how to use it, and nothing gets wasted. Seniors who skip a bedtime snack like this often wake up feeling stiff, tired, or sore, not because of age, but because their muscles spent the night searching for fuel that never came. White heavy checkmark slow-digesting protein that fuels muscles all night. Light bulb best taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Pushpin coming up, a protein-packed snack, surprisingly simple, that needs no cooking at all, but delivers powerful results. You might already have it in your fridge. Number 7. Hard-boiled eggs. Nature's nightcaps, they may seem simple, but hard-boiled eggs are mighty when it comes to muscle preservation. Each egg is packed with complete protein, rich in leucine, an amino acid that acts like a switch, flipping on the signal for muscle building. Here's the reality. After 60, your body becomes less sensitive to smaller amounts of protein. That means you need not just any protein, but the right kind in the right amount. Eggs are one of the best natural solutions. What makes them special? They're easy to prepare, easy to chew, and easy to digest. That's a triple win, especially for older adults who may not feel like eating a full meal at night. And let's talk yolks. They often get overlooked, but they're loaded with vitamin D, healthy fats, and choline, nutrients your muscles and brain absolutely need to stay functional and alert. Here's a doctor's tip. Sprinkle a little turmeric on top for joint support. Add black pepper to activate the curcumin. And if you want something a bit more filling, pair it with avocado slices. Healthy fats slow digestion and keep your blood sugar steady as you sleep. Even 1 or 2 eggs eaten 30 minutes before bed can trigger IGF-1 production, a hormone that declines with age, but plays a big role in maintaining lean mass and speeding up recovery. Think of it like this. Your body is a machine, and eggs are the overnight technician, keeping things running smoothly while you rest. So, next time you're about to skip a bedtime snack, remember, just 1 egg might be the difference between waking up stronger or waking up stiff. Packed with leucine and growth-supporting nutrients. Easy to prepare and gentle on digestion. Up next, a seafood favorite that hides a powerful secret, especially when paired with the right kind of oil. You won't want to miss it. Number 6. Tuna and olive oil. The sleeper's superfood. It might not be flashy, but tuna and olive oil is one of the most underrated muscle-saving meals you can eat before bed. This humble combo delivers complete protein, healthy fats, and inflammation-fighting compounds in every spoonful. Here's why it works. Tuna gives you a solid dose of leucine-rich protein, just what your aging muscles need to repair and grow overnight. But when you add olive oil, it slows digestion, allowing those amino acids to stay in your bloodstream longer, feeding your muscles through the night. Think of it like this. Tuna is the fuel, and olive oil is the time-release valve. Together, they create a steady drip of nutrients exactly when your body needs them most while you sleep. And there's more. Tuna is packed with omega-3 fatty acids. These aren't just good for your heart. They help fight chronic inflammation, the silent enemy of strength and mobility in seniors. Less inflammation means less soreness and better recovery by morning. Want extra benefits? Olive oil helps with vitamin D absorption, brain health, and joint lubrication. That means you're not just feeding your muscles, you're also protecting your bones, memory, and flexibility. Here's how to do it right. Scoop out half a can of tuna, packed in olive oil, not water. Eat it straight, or pair it with whole grain crackers, or a few cucumber slices. Add a squeeze of lemon for taste, or a dash of sea salt. But skip the mayo, it adds inflammation, not value. Some people hesitate to eat fish before bed. Don't be one of them. Tuna is light, low carb, and surprisingly filling. And your body will thank you in the morning. Delivers protein, healthy fats, and inflammation fighters. Use tuna and olive oil, not water, for best results. Coming up next, a smooth, creamy food that nourishes your gut, muscles, and mind all in one simple bowl. Number 5. Greek yogurt. The triple threat, this isn't just dessert, it's defense. Greek yogurt is thick, rich, and loaded with the kind of support your muscles and gut crave overnight. It's not just one benefit, it's three: casein, protein, calcium, and probiotics, all in a single spoonful. Let's break it down. First, the protein. Greek yogurt is packed with casein, the same slow-digesting protein found in cottage cheese. That means it keeps fueling your muscles for hours after you fall asleep. Second, calcium. You need this mineral not just for bone strength, but also for muscle contractions and nerve communication. Without enough calcium, muscles don't respond well, and that can lead to cramps, weakness, and poor sleep. Third, probiotics. These friendly bacteria don't just help your digestion. They improve nutrient absorption, support your immune system, and reduce gut inflammation, which means your body uses every bit of fuel more efficiently. Think of Greek yogurt as your body's quiet overnight repair crew, working from the inside out. Want to boost its power? Add a handful of fresh berries for antioxidants, or a teaspoon of flaxseed for fiber and omega-3s. Just avoid sugary toppings, they undo the benefits. And here's a little-known fact. Studies show Greek yogurt before bed can increase next-day energy and reduce feelings of morning stiffness, especially in adults over 60. So if you're waking up tired or feeling sore even after a full night's sleep, this one change might make a world of difference. High in casein, calcium, and probiotics. Choose plain, unsweetened yogurt and dress it up naturally. Coming next, a golden bedtime drink, warm and healing, with anti-inflammatory power that soothes from within. Number 4. Warm milk with turmeric. The golden nightcap, this isn't just grandma's bedtime remedy, it's your body's built-in anti-inflammatory ritual. Warm milk with turmeric is more than a comfort drink. It's a potent, 2-in-1 formula that calms your nerves and repairs your body at the same time. Let's start with the milk. It's packed with casein protein to feed your muscles, tryptophan to help you relax, and calcium to support overnight muscle contractions and bone strength. This means your body stays nourished, even while you're asleep. Now enter turmeric, the golden spice that's been used for centuries to heal from within. Its star compound, curcumin, is one of nature's strongest anti-inflammatory agents. And when you combine it with warm milk, magic happens. Think of it this way. While your body sleeps, turmeric is going to battle against stiffness, soreness, and the silent damage caused by aging and inflammation. And here's something most people don't know. Curcumin only works well when it's absorbed properly. That's where black pepper comes in. Just a tiny pinch boosts absorption by up to 2,000%, making your golden milk far more effective. Want to sweeten the deal? Add a drop of raw honey. It not only enhances taste, but also supports your immune system and adds antibacterial benefits, all while keeping your blood sugar stable. Worried about dairy? No problem. You can use almond or oat milk. Just make sure it's fortified with calcium and protein, ideally from pea or soy. The effect may not be identical, but it still supports your muscles through the night. One warm cup, 30 minutes before bed, and your body gets a signal that it's time to rest, recover, and rebuild naturally and deeply. Combine sleep support with muscle and joint repair. Add turmeric, black pepper, and optional honey for maximum benefit. Up next, a rich, creamy spoonful that protects your strength and calms nighttime tension. Don't miss what's coming. Number 3. Almond butter. The muscle's midnight shield sometimes. All it takes is 1 spoonful. Almond butter may look simple, but it delivers a slow-burning blend of nutrients that work hard while you rest. It's rich, creamy, and loaded with muscle-supporting benefits for anyone over 60. Let's talk about what makes it so special. First, the healthy fats. They don't just give you long-lasting energy, they also slow digestion, so your body can absorb amino acids more gradually throughout the night. Second, the magnesium. This powerful mineral helps relax tight muscles, calms the nervous system, and supports deeper, more restorative sleep. Many older adults are low in magnesium without even knowing it. and that could be the reason for nighttime cramps or restless legs. Third, plant-based protein. Almond butter delivers a clean source of amino acids, especially helpful for those who eat less meat or dairy in the evening. It's gentle on the stomach and doesn't require cooking or chewing, perfect for a late-night boost. Now here's a tip most people miss. Almond butter helps reduce nighttime cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down muscle tissue while you sleep. Less cortisol means more recovery and more strength the next day. Want a quick bedtime snack? Just take 1 tablespoon straight, or spread it on a slice of whole grain toast or a few apple slices. Keep it simple. Choose natural almond butter, no added sugar, salt, or oils. And here's something to remember. The combination of healthy fat, magnesium, and protein makes almond butter a triple threat. It helps your body rebuild, relax, and stabilize quietly, efficiently, and without disruption. Loaded with magnesium, healthy fats, and clean protein. Go natural, just almonds, no added sugar or oils. Coming next, a tart, tangy drink with real science behind it. It's not just delicious, it's powerful for sleep and recovery. Number 2, tart cherry juice. The recovery tonic. Don't let its sweet taste fool you. Tart cherry juice is one of the most powerful, natural tools for overnight recovery. This vibrant red drink does more than satisfy. It resets, repairs, and restores. Here's what makes it work. Tart cherries are packed with anthocyanins, which are powerful antioxidants that reduce inflammation and muscle soreness. They also contain melatonin, the sleep hormone that helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. That combo, less inflammation and deeper sleep, is exactly what your body needs after 60, when nighttime recovery becomes harder and slower. Think of tart cherry juice as a gentle night nurse, quietly reducing swelling, calming your joints, and helping you drift into the kind of sleep that heals. And there's real science behind it. Studies have shown that adults who drink tart cherry juice before bed experience better sleep quality, less morning soreness, and even improved physical performance over time. You don't need a big glass. Just 4 to 6 ounces, about 30 minutes before bed, is enough to deliver its full benefits. Make sure you choose 100% tart cherry juice. No sugar added, no blends, and definitely not the sweet kind. Want to enhance the effect? Drink it slightly chilled, and try pairing it with a magnesium-rich snack like almond butter. Together, they create a recovery combo that soothes your muscles and nerves. One more benefit, tart cherry juice also supports joint health. For seniors with arthritis or morning stiffness, this drink can be a game changer. Combats inflammation and improves sleep quality. Drink 4 to 6 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice before bed. And now, it's time for the most powerful, muscle-rebuilding food of all. Don't skip this one, even if you think you've heard it before. Number 1. Whey protein shake. The overnight rebuilder. This isn't just for gym goers. It's for anyone over 60 who wants to stay strong, mobile, and independent. Whey protein shakes are one of the most researched, trusted, and effective tools for preserving muscle overnight. Let's start with why it works. Whey is fast digesting, rich in all 9 essential amino acids, and especially high in leucine, the amino acid that signals your body to build new muscle. After age 60, your body becomes more resistant to those signals. That means, even if you eat well during the day, your muscles still struggle to rebuild at night. A shake before bed flips the switch back on. Think of it like turning the lights back on in a room your body forgot to enter. Whey helps your muscles recognize the message, grow, repair, stay strong. Studies show that just 130 to 40 gram dose of whey protein before sleep can increase overnight muscle protein synthesis by over 20%. That's huge, especially if you're not exercising daily. It still helps. Want to make it tasty and powerful? Blend 1 scoop of high-quality whey isolate with unsweetened almond milk. Add half a banana for potassium, or a spoonful of almond butter for sustained energy. Sprinkle cinnamon to support blood sugar balance. And if you're lactose sensitive, don't worry, choose whey isolate or hydrolyzed whey. They're filtered to remove almost all lactose, making them easier to digest without bloating. More than a shake, it's a strategy. A nightly whey protein habit helps maintain lean mass, improves recovery, and keeps metabolism active even while you sleep. Just mix, sip, and rest. Your muscles will do the rest. Fast absorbing, rich in leucine, and clinically proven to rebuild muscle overnight. Use isolate or hydrolyzed whey if sensitive to dairy. Up next, your recap and a challenge to help you stay strong, one night at a time. Final thoughts. Your strength starts tonight. If there's one truth we've learned tonight, it's this: muscle doesn't vanish all at once. It fades, night by night, when we fail to give our body the support it needs. But the good news? You can take back control, one bedtime snack at a time. Here are the big takeaways. After 60, your body needs specific, targeted nutrition at night, not just during the day. Slow digesting protein like casein fuels muscle repair while you sleep. Healthy fats and magnesium calm your system, reduce stress, and promote deeper recovery. Anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric and tart cherry juice protect your joints and ease morning pain. And perhaps most important, small, consistent changes create real results. You don't have to eat all 8 foods at once. Start with 1. Make it a nightly habit. Notice how you feel the next morning. Whether it's cottage cheese, a hard-boiled egg, or a simple shake, you now have tools that can help you wake up stronger, steadier, and more in control of your health. Your challenge tonight: pick just one of these muscle-saving bedtime foods and try it. Give it 1 week. Let your body show you what it can do when it gets what it needs. And if this video helped you or someone you love, please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Senior Health Tips. Your one click helps us grow and motivates us to create even more helpful videos just for you. Remember, you're not too old to get stronger. Not even close. Your journey doesn't end at 60, it gets wiser. Sleep strong, eat smart, and we'll see you in the next video.